Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how we're going to upload work to Scholastic. So what you're going to do is you're going to log into your account. You're going to make sure your profile is complete. And then you're going to see that you can't enter writing anymore because that has passed. But we're going to play with Carlos's account. You are going to make sure your school is there, make sure it's actually Mount Vernon. Then you're going to check off your educator. If you have more than one, you can check off more than one, but if you want me to help you with your submissions for this class, you should check me off so that I have the ability to help you make sure the images are correctly uploaded and everything. Then work type, you're going to select art, and then you're going to choose the category. So read the category descriptions really carefully, particularly if you're not sure. But if it's mostly drawing, you're going to choose drawing. If it's mostly painting, you're going to choose painting. If it is digital art, meaning it's created entirely on Photoshop, Illustrator, any sort of 3D modeling program, most likely it's digital art, unless you have some specifications and you're like not really sure. Comic art is for sequential art. If you're doing sculpture, most of the ceramics category is going to be sculpture if it is not a pot. So read the descriptions about that really carefully. Then if you are going to be using mixed media, usually that has a three-dimensional component to it and it's heavily mixed, like an assemblage. So let me know if you have questions, read the category descriptions. And then sculpture is 3D. So read the category descriptions, email me if you have questions. Let's just go ahead and say photography for Carlos. And you are going to give it a title. And I am going to call it Carlos with flower because he's going to change this later. Please use proper capitalization. This is the way your title is going to appear, so this needs to be correct. If you're applying for a portfolio, you'll check this. Otherwise, none of you are going to check this. Ask me if you have portfolio questions. This is dimensions, height and width is the print height and width dimensions. So if Carlos wanted this photograph called Carlos with flower to be printed, we'd have to look in Photoshop to make sure what the print size would be at 300 resolution. It's under image size in Photoshop. Otherwise, you can just measure your artwork, make sure it's height in inches first and then width. So let's say Carlos wants to print this at 20 inches by 13 inches, and he may not be able to. I don't know what the full size is. That's kind of large. Materials, then you're going to click off any of these materials that you've used. It's really kind of hard with photography, but he did use Photoshop to edit his final image, so we're going to put Photoshop. And then you can always type in digital print, because it would be a digital print of a photograph. And then if he wanted to mention a camera or an app or anything else that he might have used, you can add any other materials that you might have used. Then work tags. These are like hashtags. So I'm gonna type in masculinity, and it gives you some suggestions. Gender norm or gender identity. Then I'm going to say flowers, man and nature, and femininity. Okay? Then he needs to check off that it is original. You are basically saying that you did not take anyone else's artwork or anything else out of this. This is all your work. You took the picture yourself. You edited the picture yourself. So if it's a self-portrait and somebody else took the picture, you need to be really careful about that. As you are saying that you have created every part of this artwork by yourself with your own ideas, your own observations, your own imagination. And if you used any sources at all, please read the copyright and plagiarism. It's it's really important that you understand that if you did not create the artwork, or if you were borrowing an image that you copied and pasted together and did not claim it here, let's say you were doing a collage where you were taking a well-known image of somebody from a magazine and using that in a Photoshop collage, and you did not claim that here, then that's plagiarism, and you will be thrown out of the competition. So please claim everything. Look up websites if you have to. If you used any source materials, you're going to click yes, and then you're going to say, I found something from the internet, and then you're going to put the image that you got on the internet's web address down here. If you used an image that you were altering in a collage in a newspaper, you would need to write down Washington Post and then date. Okay, if somebody else took the picture, you are going to say, assisted by my classmate, okay? And then you can put something down in here. You need to say specifically in the photo shoot, okay? Did you use any source materials? I'm going to say no for this one. I'm going to come back and make sure Carlos does this correctly. Then these are special categories for awards. You can look and see if it deals with grief bereavement, civic expression, or whatnot, and you can check that. And then you have to check off this plagiarism policy. You need to click here and read it. If your work violates this policy, you're going to be disqualified. It's